Welcome back to Where in the World, where we have real conversations with young professionals about life and career, all while attempting to guess where in the world they are. We'll learn something new about our guests and what it's like to forge your own career path as a young professional. And when we say young, we're really talking about a state of mind. You'll learn by watching this web series that your career will take many dips and turns over time. And just when you think you've made it, you may have to scrap it all and start from scratch. Sometimes that's just the way it goes, and we ride the tide. I am your host, Clary Johnson, and we're joined today by Crunch Ranjani, founder of Crunch Ranjani Content. As a chief content writer, Crunch creates narratives for purpose driven entrepreneurs, including blogs and articles. The big, hairy question we're asking today is how can we deepen the trust we have in our own intuition as young professionals? But before we jump in, let's do some housekeeping. So, this is a mini web series game show. The questions will range from standard interview like questions to more personal questions about our guests' careers. You'll notice we're both here today with different backgrounds. In between questions, we'll each have an opportunity to guess where in the world the other person is, and the first person to guess correctly wins. Our guests can ask for any types of clues along the way, and the audience can also get involved and help out by also asking for clues. So please, please, please join me in welcoming Crunch. So, Crunch, thank you for agreeing to come on the show. I know you just wrapped up some recent travels and you're still getting settled in. So, we can't really wait to learn more about your adventures on the show today. And I'm a little nervous that you're going to guess where I am on the first try. So, we're leaving land and going into the sea. And I can see great minds think alike because you're also underwater and I have no idea where you are. So, we have so much
Yep,
fun
we're
on this
vibing
show.
today.
We are vibing. Okay, we are in total alignment. Okay. It's the best way to start. Um, so we have so much
Mm-hmm.
fun on this show guessing where in the world each other is. And so it's an honor to have you join us with all of your beautiful and colorful travel experience. Your radiance is truly welcome. And we can't wait to dive into this topic of intuition and how we can be guided by our inner whisper. So let's get started with our most common interview question. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
So, my name is Crunch, and I would describe myself as a person who helps purpose driven professionals, lighten their lives or find the light in their lives by, simplifying their content so that they can amplify their impact. So, that's the main gist of the work that I do. Personal life story wise, I was born and raised in Singapore, and you know, um, about 10 years ago, I started traveling and I haven't really stopped since then. And I've kind of found a way to build travel into my business. So now it all kind of works. For the most part, it works. And I found this happy balance between traveling and working, and my lifestyle of travel feeds into my remote job, and vice versa. Like I can do my work remotely while traveling and enjoying the world, which is something that really lights me up. And I'm so thankful and grateful and privileged to be able to do this. So yeah, I'm excited to share a little bit more about my journey and how I got here and all of that kind of good stuff. But I'll let you take the lead with the questions.
Okay, so let's get started with guessing where the other person is. So you're underwater, and I see it looks like a car, like a rusty car in the background. This is a real
Mhm.
photo.
This is an actual photo that, yeah, that was taken recently. So that should give you a clue.
So you took this photo.
Well, I didn't take this picture. I'm off to the side of this picture.
Oh, okay.
I cropped it so that it looks cool without me floating around in there.
So the question is, have I been paying attention? Because I did see that you recently posted a video of your adventure scuba diving.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, hmm. Okay, so I'm gonna sit on that for a little bit. Let me ask a couple questions. Are you in the Pacific Ocean?
Oh my goodness. No, I
Oh,
am
you're
not
not?
in the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's my guess. I
Okay.
mean, I guess I can guess all the oceans and seas, but there are seven of them, right?
Wait, that's your guess already? Like you're done?
Yeah, you're in the Pacific Ocean. I mean, you're not in the Pacific Ocean.
I'm not. I mean, that was your yes, no
So,
question. I
okay,
feel like you
okay.
get a prize.
Okay, so okay, I'm just gonna throw something random out here.
Okay.
It's the first body of water that comes to mind, which is really weird because it's not a common body of water. And it's the Beringer Strait. Is that a real place?
That is a real place.
Okay.
I think that's really far north. I
Oh, okay.
mean, correct me if I'm wrong. My geography is not fantastic considering how much I've traveled.
Yes.
But I feel like that's the little strip of water in between Alaska and something else, Russia.
Yeah, yes, actually you're correct. So I was wrong. It's called the Bering Strait, and you're correct. It is a strip of water between Alaska and Russia. So and then the Bering Strait flows into the Bering Sea. But you said that this is way north. So it can't be the Bering Sea, which means that we're probably closer to, and we're not in the Pacific Ocean, right?
Nope,
Okay.
not in the Pacific.
Okay, well, that helps actually. So I'll take that clue
Mhm.
and I'll work on it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the Pacific Ocean's huge, right? So, like, you've
It is.
narrowed it down to the smaller oceans,
Right. And slightly location as well. So I know
right?
we're east, somewhere east, southeast,
Okay.
possibly. Okay,
Okay.
so I will take that and work on it. How about you? Where do you think I am?
My question for you, huh? That's very interesting. It's some sort of reef formation, but it looks like it's illuminated by itself. So I'm guessing like bioluminescence. I don't know where bioluminescence like grows on reefs.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm gonna guess it's somewhere tropical because I think like reefs tend to be in the tropical between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, right?
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that means for you.
That's very specific. And
And I've like reduced it to like the middle zone of the world.
I receive that. So let me see, actually, so let me just double check that I know where I am in relation to. So this is not uncommon, okay?
Hmm.
I it's a learning process and discovery for both of us. So I have a
Right.
feeling that you and I are in maybe a similar area, but I'm not
We might be.
sure.
We might be.
But I'm not sure. Okay. Um, do you want to guess where I am? Or you know what? I'll give
My
you.
yes no question to you. I'm
Okay.
allowed to ask yes no questions,
Oh
right?
yes, of course, of course.
Are you in a tropical area?
It is
Or like is
tropical.
okay.
It
Okay.
is
I
tropical.
will I will mull that over for a bit.
Now it's hard to say what's tropical and what's not though. Um,
Ooh.
considering the fact that we are in water. So
Okay.
it depends on what kind of tropic climate you're thinking about.
Well, I guess like whatever landmass that's right next to this reef. I'm assuming it's not in the deep blue sea because, people don't dive in the deep blue sea most of the time. And
Well,
or am I?
chew on it.
What?
Chew on it a little bit. Okay. Chew
Okay,
on it.
okay. I
All
will
right.
I will think about it a little bit more.
So I want to hear about your most recent travels. Where did you go? What kind of, what in, attracted you to this place? And what did you accomplish while you were there? Tell us a little bit more about your recent travels.
Oh no, I don't know if I can tell you about my recent travels without giving away where I am.
This is a strategy game as well. I don't tell people that, but
Like you're tricking me here. You got the one up on me because you get to ask the questions about like, oh, tell me about your recent travels.
so okay, how about this? What if you don't tell us where you went, but you describe the place and your experience there?
Ah, okay. So in my recent travel, like my most recent travels, I we went away for a month and it was amazing. um and so like through this month I continued like working and running my business, and of course like the usual challenges presented themselves, the weak internet, the spotty wi-fi, and the connectivity issues, and also the fact that like you want to maximize your experience of the place, but you also don't want to miss out on like having client meetings and connecting with people online. So it's kind of like tricky to find a balance between spending the time online and working on my business, growing my network, producing new offers, and fulfilling client work, and also managing my time to make sure that I enjoy the place that I'm in and make the most of my time there, right? So um, that was a little bit of a challenge, but I think I still did a good job of like eating all the amazing food, which is something I'm really passionate about as well. Like I love food.
All right, so let's go ahead and because I'm ready to guess where you are. Now, I realized I had this realization as we were talking that the last time you talked, you said you were in Mexico.
Uh-huh.
So, and you mentioned that you were traveling around Mexico
Hmm.
to different areas of the country. So, my question to you is, are you in off the shores of Mexico?
Yes, that's correct.
Uh, all right. Well, I will allow that guess, and I will take that, and I'll work on it some more, and I'll bring you back a new idea.
Okay.
Your turn.
Mm, my turn. That's I am frankly a little bit stuck about where you are.
So I'm going to give you a couple clues. This is a special clue. So something you said the last time you guessed was
Mhm.
ironic. I'll just say that. It was ironic what you said was ironic. That's the clue.
Now I gotta remember what I said. I have the like attention span of a goldfish and like forget things that I say 2 seconds later. And you're asking me like what something I said was ironic. I don't know.
So I'll give you a clue about this place, okay?
Okay.
So this space in the ocean stretches for more than 1,580 miles with a mean width of 43 miles.
Okay. Okay, I think we're in the same area. I might even say that we're in the same, like within 100 kilometers of each other.
So actually, no, we're not.
Oh, we're not.
We're not. We're nowhere near each other.
What?
Yeah,
Oh
we're
my
nowhere near
goodness.
each other. I thought we were too, but
Oh. Okay, so
now that
that's
I know
a
you're,
clue. So we're not near each other. We're not
we're
near
not.
each other.
Well,
Okay.
actually, oh, this is hard. Okay, so
Uh,
here, I'll clarify. So going west, if we were to go, sorry, let me back up. If we were to go east, we're further away from each other than if we were to go west.
huh. Interesting.
Hmm.
Okay,
Make you
repeat
think
that.
about
Going east.
going
Well,
east, if we were to circle the globe and traveling east, we would be
uh-huh.
further away from each other than if we were to go west.
Ooh, that's Okay.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
On either side of Mexico, on either side. It's true.
Ah,
Mhm.
that's interesting. Okay.
Okay. Did you want to guess where we are?
Mm. Um, dang, this is hard. I feel like I have no concept of where you might actually be.
Okay.
Also, I need to look at my map. Hang on. Let me look at my map.
You are allowed to use Google. You have permission.
Okay, interesting. Are you in like Hawaii?
We are not in Hawaii, no.
Okay.
We're not in Hawaii. We are because where is Hawaii? Where is Hawaii?
Hawaii is closer east, west than east.
Yes.
That's what I.
So, mhm. Um, so let me see. We are not in Hawaii.
Okay.
Mhm.
Do I get another chance to guess?
On the next round.
Okay, okay.
So, give me 1 second. So, okay, but Hawaii is
Hmm.
closer than Mexico.
Okay, interesting.
Hawaii is closer than Mexico, so you're going in the right direction, and
Just west.
you're actually pretty warm. I mean, by this point, we're in like the middle of the ocean. So,
Okay, awesome, awesome.
okay, so how? So I guess you kind of talked about this a little bit. Walk us through a year in your life as a digital nomad. How many countries have you visited? And then also tell us what's your favorite dish internationally?
Okay, let me answer the easiest question first, which is how many countries I've visited. I think my number right now stands at 53.
Okay.
Not that I'm counting. Right. Yeah, but I've collected these countries in years of travel. So originally, I was born and raised in Singapore and lived in Singapore for a very long time, right, growing up. And I don't know for if many people know this, but Singapore is an extremely, extremely tiny country. Like it's minuscule, right? It's don't know, like if you run a marathon across the country from east to west, you won't have enough space to finish your marathon. Okay.
Mhm.
That's how small it is. So, like growing up, like whenever we wanted to go away anywhere, it was always going abroad. Like we'd go to like Southeast Asian countries like Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and that kind of stuff. So, like travel for me started at a very young age. So I've been able to like, amass a collection of countries over the years, just by normal traveling, like the 2 weeks a year we would get like a school holiday. But yeah, so that's kind of how I got to like 53 countries, which people think is very impressive. But I mean, that's only a quarter of the world, right?
Only a quarter of the world, only. Um,
Only,
eh,
come on.
that's amazing, and 53, that's a lot of countries. And I imagine if you go to places like Europe, then of course you have those sister countries that are very close and easy to hop to.
Hmm.
But still, I mean, you had to, as you were growing up, had to learn some real survival skills to be able to kind of move around like that. I remember working for a company where I traveled a lot, and I would live out of my suitcase, and I was so tired by the end of it that I was just like like I want to go home. So, I think but I got really really good at packing. So now if I go through the TSA, like they don't have to say anything to me. I already have my shoes off. I already got my jewelry off. Even today's now, you can kind of keep your jewelry on through a lot of things. But like I'm already pulling out my laptop out of my personal checked items. I take one personal item. I take it on the plane with me.
Hmm.
The only time I'll check a bag is if it's an extended stay. So I've gained these travel skills, and so I imagine that For you, where you're living in these places, like, well, I'm just visiting, so I just pack a bag, but like you're living in these spaces. I mean, it must take so much of you to not grow an attachment to your personal items, right? Your belongings,
Hmm.
because we accumulate so much, but there has to be so much discipline in not being doing that, but also not getting so attached to the environments and the spaces you're in and the people that you're meeting. How do you
Hmm.
balance that?
Wow, that's a big question.
Sorry. I forgot to mention we get deep on this show.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I think, um, well, I don't really have a good answer for that. Apart from that, I do get attached to places and
Mm.
people and things, and it's always like a difficult goodbye. And I often cry when I have to leave a place.
Oh.
And but then again, like, so this happened more frequently when I was backpacking around South America and Asia, and it was mainly just like backpacking and kind of enjoying my life. And then, like, the only real reason why I had to leave was because I wanted to leave. But like, even in that wanting to leave, there is that sense of, dang, I'm gonna miss these people that I've been
Mm.
hanging out with for the last 2 weeks, or like this place that I've been, at for a month, like, has become kind of like home. Like, I know the lady at the grocery shop, she gives me like a discount on the fruit or whatever, like those small connections are so important. And I think they make your travel experience that much richer
Mhm.
when you get to make those connections. So I wouldn't say like, you have to kind of harden your heart and not get attached, like,
Mhm.
have those feelings, feel sad when you have to leave a place,
Mm.
and you know enjoy knowing that you are human because you feel these things, right? Because
Mhm.
otherwise we would all just be like robots and just moving through life with no purpose. And I think at this point, like, it might be relevant or interesting to mention that, like, one of my favorite stories or fables that I keep coming back to in a lot of aspects of my life, whether it's travel or the work that I do, or my interactions with people, how I show up in my local community, is the parable of the starfish. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh, I've never heard of this. Tell us.
Okay, so like 60-second, like, brief summary of the story. So there's this guy, he goes out for a walk at sunrise on the beach, and he sees this child who's you know running up and down the beach, like throwing starfish that are scattered all along the beach. So starfish have been washed up by the tides in the night or whatever, and they've been washed up on the shore. And there are hundreds and thousands of starfish on this seashore,
Mm.
and this child is picking up each starfish and tossing it back into the sea because
Right.
starfish can't survive out of the water.
Hmm.
So this guy is kind of curious. He goes up to the child and says, like, "What are you doing? Why are you throwing the starfish back into the ocean?" And the kid's just like, "Well, I have to, because they'll die if they're out of the water."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't you see that there are hundreds and thousands of these starfish here? You're never going to make a difference."
Mhm.
And the child says, like, "But it makes a difference to this one." And he throws
Oh.
it back into the ocean. Right. So,
Mm.
like, that's the idea with everything that we do, right? We might feel like we're
Yes.
not making a difference because there's so
Mhm.
much to do, like the world's on fire,
Yeah.
but one small thing that you're doing is making a difference, even if it's just to one person or one living being or one non-living being. I don't
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
Like, if you make a small difference in any way, I think that counts for something. And that's something that we should all hold on to.
Okay. So with that being said, we're in Mexico and we're off the coast of Mexico. And so, I mean, Mexico is a very big country.
It is.
So now I
With a
have to,
lot of coastline.
it has a lot of coastline. So I have to try to narrow us down. Okay.
Well, you know that it's not on the Pacific side, so.
That is true. So we are not in the Pacific. So we can only be in the Gulf of Mexico, right?
Yeah.
Is there a specific place in the Gulf of Mexico where you're taking us?
I want to say that this is not even in the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay, so that's my guess. Is this in the Gulf of Mexico? And the answer is no.
No. And then you've really narrowed it down. So you're going to get it on the next one.
There's another Gulf here, but we'll come back to that one. Okay, so
Okay. So my question for you. Hmm. Let's see. Wow, that's really tough. It looks like they're diving at night as well.
possibly.
Yeah, it's not. I feel like I need to look at my map, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
do that. And let's see. Oh, wow, this is tough. And you said it was like 1,500 miles long, this space?
correct. 1,580 miles long.
Wow. That's, wait, are you talking about the reef as being a thousand
Is
five hundred miles?
is it a reef?
Is
That's
it
the
not?
question.
Oh my gosh.
Is it a reef?
Holy crap. I have, wow. Okay. Okay. Whoa. Interesting.
Now, of
That's,
course, it's likely that this is a reef, but the question is it a reef or is it something else?
you're
I'll give
killing me.
you a clue about this place, okay? I'll give you a clue.
Okay.
I'm really proud of myself, by the way, because I knew that if I picked any place on land, that I had there was a high probability that I was going to lose on the first try. So I'm glad I chose something challenging for you. And actually, considering the fact that you've recently been scuba diving, this might be a place that's of interest to you. You might
It
want to
is.
visit this
It is.
place.
I'm really curious about where it is to add it to my list.
Okay, so I'll tell you about the type of place this is. How about that?
Okay.
So the type of place this um is are points where two adjacent tectonic plates collide, one being forced below the other. That's the definition of the type of place this is. So it's a point where two adjacent tectonic plates collide, one
Mhm.
being forced below the other. An arcing depression stretches for more than 1,580 miles with a mean width of 43 miles. So, um, that is my clue for you. So it's long. The question is
Okay.
long in which direction?
Right.
I've given you a lot.
Interesting.
I've given you a lot right now.
Yeah, no, I know. I know, I know. I'm just not using Google. I'm just trying to like I
Mhm.
could I think I could figure this out in like 2 seconds if I just pinned that into.
I'll give you a better clue. How about this? The name of this place is named after a collection of islands in the area. Or is it
Okay.
that the islands were named after this place? That's the clue.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I want to guess, is this place in within the sphere of what we would regard to be Asia?
It is near Asia. It's closer to Asia than it is to Mexico. It's closer to Hawaii. Sorry. It is, yes, it's closer to Asia than it is to Hawaii. And Hawaii is closer
Okay.
to this place than Mexico. So you are you're, I wouldn't say smack dab in the middle, but you're between Hawaii and Asia.
Okay. Interesting.
Man, you've triaged this. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Okay. I'm gonna contemplate your answers a little bit and
Okay.
think about it a little bit more.
All right. So let's move on. So
Hmm.
before this interview, we had a conversation, and you said, I'm a strong proponent that your job should not be your life. Can you tell us a little bit more about that statement?
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's exactly that, right? Like, I think um, there's a lot of the dominant narrative in our society is that you work, right? Like, you are born, you go to school, you get a job, you work for 40 years, and then you retire. And it always felt to me like it's very strange. Like, why would I spend 40 years of my life working, and the best 40 years of my life working as well? Like, it's when I'm in the prime of my life. Like, it's literally between the ages of 20 and 60, when you're young and full of energy and youthful abundance, and you have to be chained to your desk from 9 to 5 every single day. That sounds awful. It sounds miserable to me. So for me, it felt really, really wild that I was expected to do this, and that this is our life in the world, that you need to do this, otherwise you won't be able to live a good life, or you won't be able to be successful, or have a house or a car, or whatever it is, fulfill your needs, right? And to me, it's really strange that people say, okay, I will buy into this narrative. Because why are we doing this? Like, life is so much more than your job. And I get that some people like really love the work that they do. They like are passionate about whatever they're doing, and they enjoy the work that they're doing, and that's fantastic. I'm not saying that's not something to strive for, but that can't be your entire identity. Like, we need to move away from saying, like, I am a nurse, or I am a lawyer. Like,
Mm.
that's not who you are. That is your job. That's what you do for a living. Living is what you do outside of your job.
Yes.
Or at least that's how I think about it. Like, I feel it's really strange that we allow ourselves to be funneled into this idea that, oh, your life takes place after your working hours, which is when you're super tired and you're just like, I want to take a shower and like sit on the couch and let my brain rot in front of the TV, because I've just spent the best 8 hours of my day, like from 9 to 5, doing work for somebody else who's profiting off of my labor.
Wow.
And then like I have my weekends where I have to run all of my errands, like do the laundry and like tidy my house, and then I have 15 minutes where I can sit down and read a book or something. you know
Mhm.
that sucks. And like, to have 2 weeks of vacation that your boss says, like, but take your laptop with you so that I can reach you in an emergency. Hello. No thanks.
It's a vacation.
I'm on vacation. They're not paying me for this time. So like, I think we need to, like, as a society, start having these conversations about like what it really means to have a job, and to also be able to have a life that is fulfilling to us, that leaves us with the energy and the spirit to pursue our passions outside of our jobs. Because unfortunately, for the majority of us, we're not blessed, or like, we're not in the position where our work actually lights us up and we can
Mm.
call that like our life's calling. I mean, I don't think the person who's bagging groceries at Walmart thinks that that's their life's calling. Like, that's not the work that lights them up. Or like,
Mhm.
even if it is, I mean, I love writing and I love supporting my clients in the work that they do, and uplifting their messages and amplifying their work and all of that. But I also do have other interests and hobbies. I like hiking, I like traveling, I like scuba diving, I like crochet, whatever, right? Like, there are things outside of my job that also light me up. And I think we need to make space for these things. And we also need to find a way to create a society where our work is not what defines us anymore, because I think we've moved past that. I mean, if you'd asked anybody like 50 years ago if they thought 50 years from now that people be working more and spending more time in offices instead of enjoying their lives outside,
Mhm.
they would be like, oh my goodness, why would you do that? What have we become, right? Like, I think all of the fiction novels from the past that imagined the future imagined people living lives of leisure instead of working more, and yet that's not where we are. you know
Mhm.
So to me, that seems really strange. And the way we kind of like move away from that is by not defining ourselves by our jobs.
And now this is making me want to guess where you are again, because I have one Gulf, you know, to guess, and I'm gonna just go for it. Are you in the Gulf of California?
Oh no.
Oh,
No, you went away.
I went too far.
Bye.
But we are in Mexico, right?
Yes, we're off the coast of Mexico.
But we're not in the Gulf of Mexico, and we're not in the Pacific Ocean, and we're not in the Gulf of California.
Well, I
S-
might have been lying to you. Am I lying to you? Hang on. I gotta
So we
like,
must be in the Caribbean Sea.
right you are. Okay, I knew I was I knew I wasn't lying to you.
Okay. Well, that really narrows it down because it looks like there's only a small part of Mexico, because the rest I would consider to be Central America, right? Like from Belize to
Yes.
Panama,
Yes.
that's Central America. Okay. Well, mhm. So am I guessing specifically where you are under the sea?
Well, you could, because this place is actually like marked on the map.
Oh, okay.
This place specifically is interesting. Well, that's kind of why I chose it. But maybe you want to
Okay.
guess first, and then I can tell you a little bit more. Or
Well, it seems like I'm gonna have to zoom in, and when I zoom in, it's funny how you take a bird's eye view and everything feels so big, and then when you zoom in, everything feels so small. So it seems like now that I've zoomed in, there's so many more possibilities. Um, I see some popular options. So I'll start there and I'll just work my way south and we'll go from there. All right, so your turn.
all right, I did not get very far in my search for anything. Let's see. Well, somewhere in between Hawaii and Asia, uh, islands named after this place, or the place is like named after the islands. Dang, you're making it really tough for me. Oh no. Let's see. Are you off the coast of Australia by any chance?
Ooh. You're not far away.
I am not.
You are not far away. Um, you said Asia, right? So we said Asia.
Hmm.
You're closer with off the coast. Yeah, you're closer with off the coast of Australia
Hmm.
um than you were with Hawaii. But it depends on which part of the coast of Australia. You're closer off the northern end of Australia. But and I'm going to give it away. There is a landmass that's separating you from this place.
Ah. So am I trying to guess like where in the ocean you are, or
Yeah.
like the
Mhm.
landmass closest to it?
So I don't know if I can say it seems like this place also okay, I will take a landmass. I will take the name of the islands. I'll take the name of the islands because that's marked. That's marked territory. It's in the water. Um,
Okay.
it's in between. It's in between Hawaii and this place. It's closer. But you're closer off of the northern coast of Australia. Yeah,
Interesting.
I'll give you another clue about this place. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So measuring the greatest depths of this place is an exceedingly difficult task, given the technical challenges of delivering instrumentation to such a remote location and then obtaining accurate readings. The first attempt to explore the depths of this place was made in 1875 during the Challenger expedition. Um, when a sounding of 26,850 feet was obtained near the southern end of this place.
It's a trench of some sort.
Oh! All right, wait a minute. Hold up.
Okay.
Okay, it's your turn to guess. Where are we?
Okay. Well, the biggest or like most prominent trench, which would make sense that like it's 1,500 something miles and 43 miles, and you say that it's not a reef. So, and I've disappeared. My camera doesn't like seeing me on this in this space. I'm gonna guess the Mariana Trench. Am I
Ding,
saying it
ding,
right?
ding, 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 ding. You
Wow,
are
I did
right,
not know that looked like that. Like, wow,
right?
that's amazing.
Well, so you were saying fluorescence, right? And
Uh
you were
huh.
also saying scuba divers. The what I thought was ironic is you said scuba divers wouldn't be in the deepest part of the
Right.
ocean, when in fact they are. So
That's
yeah.
wild because I mean, well, they're obviously like super advanced technical divers to go that deep because regular scuba diving stops at a limit of 60 feet or like
Hmm.
100 feet,
Hmm.
and that's it.
So I'll give you some more fun facts about this place. So the water
Hmm.
here is pitch black. There's very little marine life. Um, Also, this is the deepest part of the ocean. It's located in the Pacific Ocean, and it's the deepest trench known on Earth.
That's amazing.
Mm.
That's very cool. Where did you even find this picture? Amazing.
We be Googling, we be Googling.
Awesome. Nicely played.
Hey, so I still haven't guessed where you are though, but I think I'm getting closer. Um, I feel so close yet so far. So we're going to continue with our questions and see if we can get it right on the next one. So I'm going to read a statistic to you. Okay.
Okay.
So, since the start of the pandemic, the number of digital nomads with traditional jobs has more than tripled. 16.9 million American workers currently describe themselves as digital nomads, increasing a staggering 131% from the pre pandemic year 2019. This statistic is from the 2020 Digital Nomads Report by MBO Partners.
That's interesting. Firstly, because how are you being a digital nomad during a pandemic? I mean, the pandemic grounded me. I was in Singapore for most of it, and then I came to Mexico, and I've been here mostly, like, not really traveling very much. So, like, what exactly do you mean when you say you're a digital nomad? I mean, I get that remote work has increased by a wild amount just because everybody has found surprisingly ways to do their job from their homes, from their computers, which is something I've been talking about since like 2018 when I first kind of like started dabbling in, well, trying like doing my digital nomad life. I've been nomadic for much longer than I have been a digital nomad, so to speak. But back in 2018, like I was working online and I would tell people like, oh, but you work in an office, like you could take your computer and be anywhere else in the world while working, you know, and that's basically what I'm doing. And they were like, wow, that sounds amazing. And then obviously the pandemic hit and everybody was like, okay, I guess we can do this now. Right. So like the pandemic like changed the narrative and the idea that work has to be done in offices. Right.
Mhm.
But I'm curious or, you know, conflicted about this statistic that people are describing themselves as digital nomads. Not that I'm
Mm,
gatekeeping or anything,
okay.
just because, like, how are you traveling during a pandemic? Or what exactly do you mean by the fact that you're a digital nomad? Because it's
Mm,
not just the part about being a remote worker or working online or working anywhere in the world, really. The
mm,
part is also about being nomadic, which means to lift up all your things and get up and go somewhere, change locations, right? Like to live outside of a place where you call home, so to speak. Right. So I don't know like what the definition they are using there, or like people have just latched onto this term because they think it's cool and trendy. But I honestly like feel like if you're just, doing your 9 to 5 job from a remote location, you are a remote worker. You're not really a digital nomad. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's like a personal interpretation of what digital nomad means.
Mhm.
Um, and if you want to call yourself a digital nomad, go for it, right?
I have only a few more questions for you because we're here at the end and I definitely want to get us wrapped up, but I still don't know where you are. So I have to guess. And okay. So you are in the Caribbean Sea. And you are off the coast of Mexico. And this is an island, I'm guessing, where
It's
you are?
not.
Oh, it's not it's just in the middle of the ocean?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. Is it
But
Belize?
it's fair. No,
Oh,
no,
no,
that's a
because
different
Belize is a
country.
different country. My bad. We have to do bloopers for the show. Okay, I mean, I don't wanna say Cancun because that seems so, like,
Ding, 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 ding.
obvious. Oh, really?
Yes, this was
Wow.
actually taken off the coast of Cancun in the place called Musa, which is the museo. It's like an underwater museum of subaquatic art, something like that. And
Okay.
what they've done is really interesting is that they've put down all these man-made sculptures. So the car is one of the iconic ones, but there are others like groups of people. I'm sorry, it's my cat like going wild in the background. Um, Groups like statues of people or like people in daily activities or
Mhm.
giant hands and just like weird sculptures. And part of the reason is to like for the tourism and all of that because Cancun is very very touristy, but
Mhm.
also interestingly like what they're trying to do is rehabilitate the reef
Mhm.
growth and like coral growth in that area. So I thought that was like fantastic and like a great move towards kind of like building back up our reef structures because a lot of that has been destroyed by pollution and like the climate change and all of that, and obviously like tourism activities in the zone. So like that
Mhm.
people are aware of the fact that it's a problem, that our reefs are being consumed and destroyed at an incredible rate, and they're taking steps to kind of address the problem by putting structures so that coral can start growing and like sea
Mm.
life can start
Wow.
inhabiting these spaces. And I thought
Mhm.
it was very cool.
That's amazing. So when you go down there, there are a lot of different types of sculptures, and this is just one of them.
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's
it's kind of like an exhibit, and you you can either do this as like a snorkeling thing or like a diving thing, where you go on a tour and they kind of like guide you around, kind of like being in a museum, right? Like on land, but this is underwater, and just kind of like swim around, like look at the cool coral reefs and things that are growing on these sculptures, and it's impressive.
this is really cool. And so one of my goals is definitely to visit Mexico. It's amazing. I was in Southern California for so long, and I never visited Mexico. So it's on my bucket list, and Cancun is one of those places. So I'll definitely have to add this to my list of things to do. And going scuba diving, like that's an adventure in its of itself. I've done snorkeling before, but I've
Yeah,
never done scuba diving.
it's worth it's worth a try. It's not for everybody, I think. Like it
Hmm.
can be quite an intense experience. Like you're under a ton of water.
Yeah.
I felt like that. I freaked out. Like my first dive, I was like, "Oh my god, what is this?" They're like, "So much water," but
Okay,
it's really cool. So
so I have a couple more questions for you before we go, and I've decided to mash one question up. Um, and I'm going to give you a couple different ways to answer it. Okay. So we were going to talk. We wanted to talk about intuition on this show, and talk about some practical ways that young professionals can strengthen their intuition. So the question is, how can young professionals What are some practical things that young professionals can do to strengthen their intuition in a way that allows them to pursue careers that allows them to form their careers in a way that also allows them to pursue their passion? So let me rewind there. How can young professionals leverage their intuition to help them form careers in a way that also allows them to pursue their passion points? And if you don't have a clean answer for this, it's okay for you to tell us how you strengthen your intuition and get in tune with your intuition to guide you on your travels. Oh, wait, you're muted.
I do have a little bit of a fluffy answer for this, so I'm
Oh,
just gonna dive in and
let's
kind
go.
of. So I think like the biggest piece of advice I have is for you to listen to yourself, to trust your gut, right? Like people always tell you to trust your gut, but it's also a message as a person who was socialized as female and brought up in a society that is, very driven by the patriarchy and all of that. Like there's always a message that like, oh, you shouldn't trust yourself, like, don't know what's good for you as a woman, like
Hmm,
listen to your father. That kind of like message has always been very strong in my life.
hmm,
And ultimately, like you are the one living in your life. And as much as like people around you care about you and have your maybe best interests at heart, you know what's true for you and what your values are, what your passion is, or what interests you, or what guides you in your life. And I feel like we need to become more attuned to ourselves and
hmm,
start listening to ourselves a bit more. And just to not negate those feelings of like, oh, I don't feel like this is the right move for me, but everybody's telling me this is a great opportunity.
hmm,
I should take it, because that's really what happens to a lot of us, right? Like we end up in some situation and we're just like, how did I get here? When obviously it's not right or not working out for us. And if we look back, like the reason why you're there is because you didn't listen to yourself, because like the
hmm,
warning signs are always really clear. Like it doesn't feel right in your stomach, or like in your heart, or like your chest feels heavy, or like, you know, it
hmm,
shows up in your body. I'm a big like believer that you should listen to your body. If your body is like hurting in some place, like that's probably like, if you haven't injured yourself, it's a sign that something else is wrong in your life. You need
hmm,
to like dig into what that could be, like whether that's stress, where that stress is coming from, or like I'm not feeling fulfilled in my job, or I'm not feeling complete in where I am, that kind of stuff. Like it's
hmm,
stuff that we don't really pay attention to because we're so you know attuned to society's messages about like what success should look like it's a six-figure salary, it's a car, it's a house, it's an island in the Philippines. I don't know, whatever society's up to these days telling you about what you need to have to be successful. But success looks different to everybody. Like for me, I don't want a big house, I don't want a
hmm.
car, I don't want like a Gucci bag.
Yeah.
I want to be able to travel, I want to have the freedom to pack my bags and hop on a flight and just go. I want to be able to provide for my nieces if that situation arises. So like these are the things that are important to me. And because I have listened to what my heart was telling me at the time when it came to like, do I want to take this path of like getting a job and the six-figure salary or whatever, or do I want to do things differently and maybe not have a fixed salary or not have some sort of security in that sense, because entrepreneurship is really kind of a risk. It's there's no guarantees in entrepreneurship. Like you
Hmm.
get the clients or you don't get the clients,
Yep.
that's on you, right? So for me, it's really been a lot of like soul searching, so to speak, and like getting to know myself and like what resonates for me. And also like there is this element of trusting yourself to know what's best for yourself.
Hmm.
You would think that we would all know this intuitively, but we don't listen when our senses are telling us like, oh, this isn't right, or like this is the thing that you need to do, like whether it's pursuing like art as a career or
Hmm.
music or whatever you think that society's like, oh, this is not a good idea, whatever. So I think try listening to yourself the next time you have to make a decision about what you really want and go for that instead of what
Mhm.
society says you should want.
So thank you for sharing that. And this was a perfect segue. You talked about success. Um, and I want to give you an opportunity. You kind of touched on this, but I want to give you an opportunity to give um, kind of an official answer. And the question is, and this is a question that we ask all of our guests who come on the show, is how would you describe success?
How would I describe success? Success for me is being able to wake up at whatever time I want. It's being able to not worry about money, which is something that I have worried about in the past, and it's not a pleasant situation to be in. And also just having that freedom in terms of all aspects of my life, right? That I don't want to have somebody dictating what I should or should not do. And or also to have the confidence to trust myself that even if somebody tells me what I should or should not do, I have the confidence in myself to trust myself and to know whether or not I should follow this advice, right? To me, that's what success looks like, to be so confident in myself, in where I'm going and what I'm doing. I may not know the destination, but I know I'm on the right path to
Mm,
get to wherever I need to be, right? So for me, success is not really about like the material things. Like I don't need six figures in my bank account. It's great to like make life easier and to be able to influence communities or like throw money at problems that can be solved, that kind of stuff. But honestly, like I wouldn't call myself successful if I had six figures in the bank and I had to wake up at 6 a.m. and I
mm,
have full day of meetings and life is not according to my on my terms. Like being able to live life on my terms is really what defines success for me.
mm. So success is living life on your own terms.
Yeah,
Well
that's a
said.
successful, like that's a succinct way to say it.
Well said. I think that's a perfect way to say it. And I think it's a beautiful, succinct close to our conversation today. Thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your perspective and joining us in between all of your travels. And I mean, you're getting settled in, so you must be so tired, but also really pumped up and enthusiastic to get back to work. And it's been a pleasure chatting with you and having you on the show. Um, and how can people connect with you if they want to reach out to you, or if they have questions about your, any, maybe they need some travel tips? What's the best way?
Um, Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been such a pleasure. It's so fun, this show.
Yeah,
I
I'm
really
glad you
enjoyed
like
my
it.
time. And if you'd like to connect with me, I am open to connecting with people on LinkedIn or Instagram, whichever platform you prefer. You can also like check out my website, which is crunchrangani.com. And I have mostly like free resources for people in the business space. Like if you're running your own business and you're having trouble with content, like reach out, we can have a chat, I can help you with content, that kind of stuff. But otherwise, I'm also really happy to chat about travels and stuff. I post mostly about my travels on Instagram more than on LinkedIn, but you will see some pictures here and there on LinkedIn as well. But feel free to connect on any platform that works for you. And I'm thrilled to share travel experiences, travel tips, or like business tips or content tips. Happy to share my expertise and experiences.
Well, thank you, Crunch, and you and I will be in touch very soon.
Yes, thanks so much for having me.
All right, thanks for joining the show, and we'll see each other very soon. Peace.